Think again. What if you could use this season to create deeper connection, stronger intimacy, and actually making it one of the best times of the year to focus on your relationship? Today, we are going to share 5 powerful ways to turn winter into the season where your bond grows stronger than ever. From Netflix nights that actually mean something to intentional self-care routines. This isn't just surviving the winter cold, it's about thriving together. So let's dive in. Welcome to episode 40 of Embers Rising. Let's talk about winter. People, those cozy nights, football weekends, Netflix binges are the perfect time to build something real with you and your partner. And today, David and I are here with you. We are diving into winter couple care, and we're taking and talking high impact, practical ways to turn those cozy, quiet nights and lazy weekends into powerful moments of connection and self-care that actually strengthen your bond. From weekly rituals you'll actually look forward to setting big goals together. This episode is all about making this season a time to grow for self-care, self-love, and this unbreakable bond between each other. So let's go all in on winter couple care.
I love it. I call this episode Buckle Up, Snuggle Up, and it's time to level up, right?
Buckle up and snuggle up.
And level up.
Level up. I like it. I like it.
Like, let's level up our love.
Let's level up our love. You know, this episode was very inspired by a lot of you. I'll just do the shout out to all of our amazing listeners who have shared their favorite winter traditions and cozy rituals with Bess, because you guys were the reason for diving into this episode on winter couple care. Now, for those tuning in this week, thank you for being here and making this community what it is, because let's make a season that's meaningful for you and your partner. And this is going to be the last episode of our season because we want to take a week off. So we want to give you a week off of listening to us also. Might need a bit of a break from us. So we are going to take the week off. So we're ending 2024 in episode 40, Dave.
I like it. 40 episodes into a podcast. At the beginning of the year, we said, no, we didn't say it. You said, I'm going to start a podcast.
Yeah.
And then you sat outside with a microphone and proceeded to record a couple of episodes.
It was embarrassing.
And then you had to rely on me to set up this whatever labyrinth of technical stuff. But I came out of my shell. I decided to snuggle up and level up, and here we are.
I love
episode
it.
40. I like it.
I like it. I like that a lot. Well,
this doesn't come naturally for me. Like, people that are watching, they're like, oh, I get it. She can do this all day long. She can look into a camera. She can look beautiful. She can talk. And then they listen to me and they're like, oh, he's struggling. And so you're rooting for me. I know. You're like, come on. You can find
Everybody's
a word,
rooting for
find
you,
some
Dave.
sort of gear, right? Like, I'm crunching the gears a little bit as I go through, but I'm enjoying the journey.
Everybody's rooting for you, Dave. Now, I had to save these shout outs for this episode because you guys are amazing and you actually are picking up on how important couple communication is. And I love that. Y'all need to be in our program, actually. We would love that because we actually need some, badass testimonials. So, go check out our program. But I'm going to share a couple of testimonials, Dave, that I put on here that are just so important. So I'm just going back. I'm going back and I'm very being selective on which ones I choose here. So we had an episode talking about, not an episode. We had a post that went out that talked about, it was a picture of a couple that had their heads together on a sofa very cutely, and they were very connected. If you're not watching this on YouTube, you kind of need, what are we talking about? It was a meme, and it said, when you finally understand your partner's communication style, and suddenly arguments start to feel like conversations. I love that. And Elliot Murray says, understanding your partner's language is a cheat code to a legendary relationship. No debate. Yes, Elliot Murray. Yeah, absolutely. If you can get this cheat code down, you are like a rock star. And I would say Anj Rosendale says, great advice, Wendy. Yeah, thank you so much. So that was one of the posts we did. And then we got a lot of conversation around a carousel I posted about, is your communication screwing up your relationship? And here's how to fix it. And man, I got flooded from y'all. And I want to say Cassandra Hine said, avoiding conflict creates distance, and taking a beat to cool off and gain clarity is helpful before blowing up. If you're both fire signs. True. Yeah, true too. However, Cassandra, if you knew your communication style, you can also actually flip the switch because you can know where the distress is happening. Our.whereabouts says, this is so powerful. It's amazing how a simple shift in communication can completely change a relationship. And we've got oh man, your guys' handles are sometimes crazy and it's hard for me to say them. I want to say it's Tasha Fort, maybe? Avoiding just builds up pent up energy. It's so super important to communicate how you feel while being mindful of the other person. Yeah, very true. And Robust Physical Therapy says, your 4-step formula sounds like a game changer for couples looking to connect on a deeper level. Proactive Marketing says, these steps are so practical and easy to follow. Thanks for sharing your insights. Diamante_properties says, absolutely, communication is really important if you want to save your relationship. Otherwise, it'll just lead to misunderstandings. Hannah I Power says, or maybe it's Hannah I Power says, real communication is always about openness. A Digital Academy says, totally agree. I mean, you see what I mean? You guys have just blown up this post. Fabrizio_coach says, so well said. Elevation, dusk or dawn, so true. And then back to Vijal Baruri, which you'll have to let me know how you say name, another great share. And that was just a really big one that I wanted to share because that was so huge, and I really appreciate it. The last one I want to share, Dave, is we had a post go out that said, follow us on YouTube, and we just shared some love. We are actually, if you don't know and you have DM'd us, a lot of the shout outs that we choose end up on the YouTube video. So if you can see a picture of it here, you are going to see our shout outs here on YouTube. So you guys actually end up here if you leave us a DM. And Natty_creator says, just caught the latest episode. Absolutely love the raw adventures vibe. A Digital Academy says, great job. And back to Vishal Baruri says, this is awesome. Actually loving it. So yeah, that is it for my shout outs today.
Good. And that's all off just a couple of posts. So as an observer of marketing, I would say whatever we did on those posts, let's do more of that. Yeah. And that's do what works, right? And that's really what we're going to talk about today when we're talking about warming up your love, because you got to do what works and not what doesn't not work. Okay.
Okay, that's good.
We'll break down that a little bit more.
Well, it's true. These 5 powerful moves, I believe, really strengthens your bond. And when we're thinking about cozy, cuddly winter nights that are cold and cool, and now you're looking out at the windows and you've got stick season, and maybe, okay, now not everyone's in stick season. I'm thinking, okay, people that, live on the coast or still have palm trees in Florida and, Hawaii are not looking at stick season. But for the majority of us up here in the northern part, at least the 3/4 up of the United States and on up.
All the leaves fall off and the trees turn into sticks.
And we're in stick season.
Palm trees, just one giant stick with a tail on the end.
That's true, right? It just blows in the wind. Either way, I think we all feel a weather change at the end of the day. Wherever you're at in the world, there's a weather change on the ocean front, on the land. There's just the sun setting a little bit differently everywhere around the world. So I do think when we're thinking about this winter season, how can we optimize it to the very best to actually think about connecting with our loved one? And sometimes we don't think about that because we're just moving through it, right? It's a really big deal because you've got kids at home, it's vacation time, it's holidays, and everything is rushing through. And I like to say, if you know about this now, you can start applying this also into the first of the year.
And I think it comes into play the first of the year. I don't know why. For me, September is over and then it's that Halloween October season and it's beautiful, change of colors, and then you're rushing toward Thanksgiving, and then it's Christmas, and then it's New Year's, and then it's like off the edge
right.
For a lot of people.
We might as well be depressed, right?
You're like, okay, there's nothing to look forward to except, my barbecue on Memorial Day, and that's 6 months away.
Well, I think a lot of us too just get, especially the outdoor type, we get called into the sweater weather, and now we're like binging the football games, we're binging the Netflix series, and there feels like there's a little separation and we're not in communication. That's why I shared all the communication shout outs today, because I want to share with you all how important it is to strengthen your bond through a lot of these power moves. And I'm just going to dive right in, Dave, if you don't mind.
Yeah, do it.
I think lesson number 1 is really about creating a weekly winter ritual. And when I was working through building this, I was really studying a lot of counselors, psychotherapists that talk about and who have incredible TED Talks, which I'm going to share with you here in a minute, that are all about bonding and couples being together. And so this one, when I talk about creating a weekly winter ritual, is about building connection through consistency. Winter nights don't have to just be sitting in front of your TV every night. Instead, you can create a sacred weekly ritual with your partner, making it something you both like look forward to, a cozy night, a winter walk. Maybe it's a dinner out. Maybe every Friday you just do a dinner out. Maybe it's a game night because that's the thing that you do. It's as long as it's a weekly ritual of connection. The activity isn't really the point. It's about showing up for each other every week without fail. Like you're doing this thing together.
I love it. And, for rituals, like I think each person should get to pick what the ritual might be for that week so that you're on a little bit more even playing ground.
Yeah, I like that. I like that idea. Let's use that, Dave. Let's try that out.
Yeah.
We haven't done that.
Instead of just always doing it your way.
Okay, no, come on. That is not true. Let's go on. Now, I pulled an insight from Dr. Esther Pearl, who is a psychotherapist that has had a few TED Talks, which have earned more than 20 million views, David, and her international bestseller book called Mating in Captivity, Unlocking Erotic Intelligence, became a global phenomenon translated in 25 languages. And I had to put that up there because that is a pretty big shout out. Now, she really recommends creating sacred rituals that remind us that we're not just two people living together. We're actually a team. And the rituals is ours together. Your unique ritual, whatever that is. It could be sitting on your lanai looking out at the city in the evening, having a glass of whatever. Maybe it is that evening walk. Maybe it's strolling the ocean coast. Dave and I, you and I are very ritual driven. When we are in Hawaii, we're always doing the ritual of the sunsets. That's our ritual. We're always doing, in the winter, we would always do rituals of sunsets.
And I just wonder if I'm thinking of this the wrong way when we decided we were going to talk about this, right? Because I was looking at the rituals that we're engaged in all the time, right? Like daily workout. We work out together because we have the bike, the running shoes, the gym, like it's all compact here. We meditate together.
Yeah.
We go to bedtime, right? At the same time, like I'm not downstairs watching TV till 1 a.m. and you go to bed early. Almost every single meal, I can't remember a meal where we didn't eat together.
But we do actually miss a lot of meals together. I'm just going to say, because our meetings kind of...
Sometimes, not that often though. I guess occasionally like a breakfast or lunch, almost never a dinner. And then scheduling, we go through a scheduling ritual for our business and our lives every single... Am I thinking about those correctly? Or you're talking about like a love language ritual that is beyond the schedule?
We're talking beyond the scheduled routines. We're talking a sacred ritual that bonds us together. And now you realize, do you and David have this? Because David's a little bit confused. We're talking about in the evenings, Dave, how you and I sit and we'll maybe read our book for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or half an hour, where it's like we create a sacred ritual together. Or, and it's one of my lessons further down, but, we were having intimacy, but without, the full intimacy. Like you're touching each other, you're holding hands, you're going for a walk. Usually in the summer, our rituals are just evening walks and we go walk the block. We do the ring walk,
Hold hands and
hold
walk.
hands. Yeah. And walk. So
in
those
the
are
wintertime, I rub your feet.
Yeah. So those are the sacred rituals.
Got it.
And Dave's like, dude, I'm a 5-star routine person and I want all my 5 stars today. Like, I know it. I'm going to get all of them. And he's like, what? Sacred ritual? That's what I'm talking about. I think it's important when we look at warming up our love together this winter together, we forget about all the chaos that's going on with the holidays and we're not actually taking care of each other. So it's like bringing ourselves back, being with each other, and not just sitting on each end of the sofa watching a Netflix. You're there and I'm there and we're watching Game Day or whatever. And I have my bag of popcorn and I have my cup of tea or whatever. And that's that. No, don't do that. Do those the other nights. Bring one night a week, come together and do the sacred ritual.
And does date night count?
Date night counts.
Okay, good.
That's a sacred ritual.
Phew.
Okay. Any other questions on that? You're solid there.
No.
I'm actually now listen, friends, please comment on this because we do a check-in to see if Dave and I have actually done our sacred ritual this week. Let's just check it out.
There's so many things I want to say beyond that comment that would be inappropriate. So I am just going to say, what's next?
What's next? Lesson number 2, we're talking about nourishing emotional bank account, your closeness with winter check-ins together. This is not about the surface level conversation. How was your day? What are you working on? This is about true connection. Winter can be quiet, But that's when it's powerful to go deep with each other. Scheduled 30-minute, 1 hour, weekly emotional check-ins. Talk openly about the super highs and the lows of the day, the week, everything in between. Because when you don't do that, that's when frustration happens and things get shoved underneath the rug and there's blowouts and crying. Had that happen the other day. And Dave and I realized we didn't have an emotional check-in the last 3 or 4 weeks. We need to have an emotional check-in. And I think you got to make it something you're looking forward to. And you can actually ask when you're sitting there, what are you excited about? What are you looking forward to, Dave? What can I help support you with this week? These are the questions you can ask your partner. How can I best support your week? How can I help make it better? Remember, you guys are working as a team, not as separate people living together going different directions. You're working as a team. So you really have to come together. Why are you in the marriage? Or the partnership or the relationship, what can I do for you? And the reciprocated back, ask those questions.
Pass the ball once in a while. You don't always have to be the one that scores.
I pulled up an insight from Dr. John Gottman, who's known for his work in marital stability. And he talks a lot about emotional bids. And emotional bids are showing that real connection doesn't happen by accident. It's built on small, regular moments of openness and care. And this is how best friendships are made, right? Because you call your best friend, you have emotional conversation, and all of a sudden a little bit of emotional deposit hit your bank account and you're like, oh, that feels so good, and now I want to talk to my friend again, Same thing with your relationship. Sometimes we forget about that. And Dave's looking at me like, I love this, but I'm not sure if I'm all in on this. But when we have had this, we used to call it PST, personal share time. PST. Not Pacific Standard Time, but PST, personal share time. We did this all the time, Dave, remember, in Maui. And then we kind of got really busy and we stopped doing it. And now we've been getting back into it. And I love this.
Yeah, it's you get so much out of that amount of time, right? And
because then it doesn't turn...
You get to connect with each other in a way that gets the conversation that's in your head out on the table.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with a lot of relationships. You've got so many conversations going on in your head, and then you expect that the other person is actually listening in on those conversations, and then you're frustrated because they're not responding to what you thought, literally, right? And so you've got these, expectations. Having that personal share time, you can pour some of that out, and, all of us have these different personality types, you being a harmonizer, me being a rebel. Those things don't always match up. So you've got to create time for them to match up.
Yeah, agreed. I think, when we're talking about the quiet winters and looking out and the season's a little bit different, you don't feel the energy of the sunshine. I think it's important to avoid these big, giant, heavy blowout conversations when you can set aside every week just a few minutes each week to meet up and have these emotional check-ins. Don't wait until there's a problem. Build the connection now, so it creates this stronger bond. And this also in real time makes room for complete and total honest conversations. And that's where your bond gets stronger, because now your relationship is now your best friend. So it keeps the marriage alive. Alive and love.
Sometimes I'm a little jealous of bears, though. They just get to go to sleep during the season, and then
hibernate.
They just wake up and they, one bear looks at the other bear and says, "I'm hungry." Says, "I'm hungry too. Let's go eat." So
well, they didn't have any conversation. All right, my number 3 big power move here is build seasonal self-care as a couple. And what does that mean? And I'm talking about self-care isn't just a solo thing. When you build routines that support each other's well-being, your relationship becomes stronger. And maybe it's a winter hike every Sunday, or a fitness challenge, or cooking a new healthy meal together each week, or going out to a new group that you want to learn something, or taking a class together. Build these seasonal self-care rituals as a routine. Now, I had studied Dr. Sue Johnson, who is a couples therapist from Canada, who was really the pioneer, and I don't know if you know this, the pioneer of EFT, which is called emotional freedom therapy, which is the tapping technique. I don't know if you guys have heard of that before. I've actually done it. Tony Robbins is a huge fan of that. There's an app I want to remember that's called, it's not called EFT, but it's called the tapping solution, I believe. It's really good.
And it's on your phone?
It's on my phone.
Do you just sort of beat your phone against your head?
Now, Dr. Sue, she really focused on human connection and the bonding of two people together. But she emphasizes that oxytocin boosting activities boost your mood and connection. So the more you can feel good together, the stronger your bond becomes. So when we were sitting down the other night, Dave, we were on a Netflix, but we were connecting. I was touching you. I was rubbing your arm, and you probably like, oh, this feels so nice. I'm watching a show. Thank you so much. But there was an oxytocin moment going on. Now our love feels a little bit more connected. We felt a little bit more bonded, even though you didn't know it. And you just wanted to snuggle up in that soft little blanket and look out at the leaves falling and,
Yeah, I'm like a bear.
hibernate yourself.
I'm going to hibernate.
So, I don't know if you want to add to this one, Dave.
No, I just, self-care, you need to prioritize it, right?
Yeah.
There's a rhythm to taking care of yourself for us, right? In our relationship, we prioritize like exercise. We prioritize our sleep. We prioritize our downtime. We prioritize
Meditation.
our food, meditation, right? And so for me, all of those little pieces add up to self-care. But I get what you're saying. You need an event, right? That is not the daily routine, outside of the routine.
Yeah, it can be a bath together, folks. My friends.
I like that idea a lot. And at one point in time, I thought we were actually going to have a podcast that was about us being in the bath together.
That's funny.
Remember, we talked about that in the bath. I'm like, why don't we just shoot the podcast
gosh.
here? I'm sure it would be really popular.
I don't even remember that was about. I think it was like coming up with podcast topic ideas, and it was like in the bathtub or something. It was so funny. But anyway,
And yeah, the intro music was going to be bubbles. And I was going to ask, where are those bubbles coming from?
Okay, we're not going to go there. Listen, so our thoughts here for this one is pick one or two practices that lift you both up. Self-care together means you're not just taking care of yourselves, you're investing in your relationship. And that's really important because it can be easily sidetracked with so many other things. Kids, family, holidays, all of that can go on the wayside. And if you're listening to this and now it's January, buckle up for this 2025 year because you need to have a strong relationship. Life is changing around us at a very fast pace, including the AI world. And we all need each other to support each other's dreams and goals because we are a miracle living on this planet. As soon as you wake up and your eyes are open, you are a miracle. And even the moment that you've pressed play on this podcast and you're with us, that is a miracle that you're with us. So you are here to serve in some sort of way from the higher power. So listen, this is the time to love together, love each other, warm up the love as we're moving through the season.
I like it. As I rub my hands together.
We're like, it's chilly in here. Now, number 4, I really want to touch on this because I think strengthening physical intimacy and affection is so important. And when you're together for a very long time, 10, 15, 20 plus years, sometimes these things get set aside. And I want to say you've got to focus on physical touch isn't just for date nights or special occasions. It's about the everyday moments. And we just talked about that. The small hugs, the hand holding, the little 1-second kisses, the warmth of just being close together, especially in the winter. Physical affection can be an anchor that keeps you connected. And it's so important. So it doesn't have to be this big, long, drawn out date thing, but physical touch is proven to release bonding hormones like oxytocin in cold months. That warmth becomes an emotional connection, and that actually builds your bond together. So it's important to not be so busy with everything that you forget each other. I really, really want you to be intentional. Think about being intentional with each other because those moments of intentional touch go way beyond what you're feeling at the moment. There's actually that build moment.
The long term. And so I do like the idea of maybe it does take a little bit longer. But it's such a hard thing to talk about, right? And I think couples have a hard time even in the relationship verbalizing affection and touch and prioritizing that. And it's sort of a stigma, I think, that's just stuck with us, especially in North America here, right? The United States, where in other parts of the world,
everybody's hugging.
Talk about it normally.
Yeah.
I love Tom Bilyeu and Lisa, and they have relationship theory. And Tom has always said something that sort of stuck with me, and I wonder if it's true or not. But he said that men need to have sex to feel love, and women need to feel love to have sex. And I've just wondered if that's based in truth. But Tom said it, so he does a lot of research. What do you think about that?
I think it's absolutely true. And
so I think in this discussion, it's important to remember that men and women are extremely different in a lot of different ways.
For their needs, they're very different in the needs.
But just even the DNA of the way our minds.
I think the important thing here is life gets busy for all of us through every season. And utilizing the winter season to get a little bit closer, bond yourself a little more with someone that you love is just important. And taking this extra little time, because the winter season doesn't last very long. It's just a few months, and then we're already into spring. So this is the time to cuddle up, snuggle up, level up, whatever you had said earlier.
That was it. And it's, we've got this hustle culture, and there's not a lot of energy left at the end of the day. So by making it a priority and intentional, it will happen, right?
Yeah.
And you'll have the spark. Because if it doesn't happen, I think naturally you just can lose that spark between each other, and that can go to a very dark place.
And I think that's, we are really losing in our culture right now, the tribe vibe. And I say that because the tribe vibe where we used to get together with families and friends, and we were really physically together. I'm not talking about online communities, but I'm talking the physical tribe vibe is kind of departed. Now we're all living in these boxes by ourselves. And it really takes a lot for us to go out. And I'm not talking about to a party, but a connection. When you're connected with your family or connected with a group of friends, that you can actually feel that connection, the feeling of how good it makes you feel to be there, And we're that's being phased out of our culture, and now we're just all kind of in these boxes trying to figure it out for ourselves, and that does hurt us as the human race. We need each other, and so it's really even more important to connect, absolutely in your little box, whatever you're living in, and being intentional about that. When it's a hug, a hand on the shoulder, a quick kiss, all these small little consistent gestures build a bond that really lasts. They all say, "Hey, I love you. You're amazing." You got to do it. Lastly, plan for growth together in the new year, because here we are. It's the new year, and wintertime is the time to look forward. Whether you're listening to this right before this changes over to January 1, or now it's already past January 1, we want to help you create the vision for your future, and you want to do it as a team together. And I love this, Dave, because I like tools, I like systems, I like planners. This is the time to go listen to episode 38, Creating Your Life Manifesto. But then on a yearly basis, check out Jesse Itzler's huge big ass calendar.
Oh, the big ass calendar.
Who now has a planner and a planning session that you can get for a little bit more. I believe it's $100, but it's totally worth it. I'm going to do it. I would love for you to be there with me, because this is the time to really grow together, and put everything down in your next year as these big Misogi goals. Small little goals, Misogi goals, big goals. Maybe it's a trip you've dreamed of. Maybe it's a fitness challenge. Maybe it's a business program you're launching. Maybe it's a film shoot you're going to do. Maybe it's an episode you're going to do, or a podcast episode. Build a skill that you both want together. Do something together. That's the most important. Dave and I are huge advocates of adventures together, because we really feel that builds relationships. And we want to help you get outside of your lockdown home comfort vibe and get out there and go get in nature somewhere. After guiding all the national parks, David, in the West, and doing all the adventures I've had all over the world, and now being able to do it together with you, our relationship has triple sky high, because we have been through highs and lows, and we've had to figure it out with logistics and everything else that you do.
That's for sure. And working together brings it to that next level.
Oh,
right?
yes.
Because we share so many victories and so many failures or non-victories together. But if you're a couple that actually works together, you have a business together, you're growing something together, you've absolutely got this incredible unfair advantage in terms of what you can do, right? Because you're no longer a solopreneur, you're a team, and you can divide and conquer and do so much more than you thought was possibly imaginable, because there's two of you, right? And moving in different spaces, different directions. Best if you both don't do the same thing.
And listen, if you're a visual like me, man, get that calendar. Get Jesse Itzler's calendar. It is awesome. And I will put a link in the show notes, and as well as show it right here so you guys can see it one more time. But it is incredible to sit down together and post up your goals, put on a little post and hey, this is where we want to go. These are the races we want to do. These are the events or adventures we want to go on. Make this the teamwork that you guys can work on for your accountability together, the future together. These are the powerful ways that you're going to create the we mindset. The we mindset. That's the powerful way. And you're going to build it together. That's what I like to say.
Snuggle up, buckle up, and level.
Level up. So, if you have a New Year dream night together, plan a New Year dream night together, that's really big. And then dream big. Talk about what you both want. Get them accomplished. Lay down the roadmap. Make it happen. Get that calendar. Make it happen. So I think to kind of land the plane here, Dave, the top 5 takeaways from this episode, to remind everyone, here's the top 5. To level up the love this winter, to snuggle up, cuddle up, and level up. Number 1, create a weekly winter ritual, the sacred ritual. Number 2, nourish your emotional closeness, right? Schedule the emotional check-ins. Number 3, build seasonal self-care together. Those are your wellness activities that boost the mood. Number 4, strengthen physical intimacy. It's time, make little intentional daily gestures. Remember to touch the one you love. And then number 5, plan for growth together in the new year. Set your shared goals together and create a vision for the year that makes it amazing. Schedule your New Year dream night. That's what I like to call it. So to wrap this up, we are here. Your relationship is a direction of the energy you bring. Winter is your time to build something absolutely unbreakable. So don't just coast. Show up. Invest in each other and turn this season into one powerful connection and real growth season. Every single day, choose each other. Make this season the season that you look back on and say, that's when we got stronger. If this episode hit home for you, share it with someone who needs it. Rate us on Spotify. Drop a review on Apple Podcasts. We would love that. Leave a comment on YouTube. Join me on Instagram. Check out updates on my website, wendyjae.com. And let's keep pushing forward, man. Build a love that doesn't just survive, but thrives. That's what we're doing together. So we want to say, keep choosing strong, keep growing together, and most importantly, keep your embers rising. We'll see you into the next year, everyone. Take care. And we're going to leave you at the end and love to say, we love you guys. We believe in you. And aloha.
Snuggle up and aloha.